This is Support is Sexy, episode 37, Decisions, Decisions, Decisions. Welcome to the Support is Sexy podcast. I'm your host, Elayne Fluker, entrepreneur, author, producer, and founder of Chic Rebellion Media. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I talk to women entrepreneurs who share their journeys and the true stories of their wins and their lessons, and give you insight and inspiration to take your business and your life to the next level. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Support is Sexy. I'm so happy to have you here because you know it just would not be the same without you. So today I wanted to talk to you all about decisions. You know, I've learned a lot about decisions in the past few months, I would say. Of course, obviously, being a woman of a certain age, I've made decisions throughout my life, but I've really been looking at them a lot differently, what they mean, there's not really a way to make them right. Actually, that's one of the things that I've learned about decisions. It's more so, what's the best next move that you can make? I know that's something that Oprah says. What is your best next move? So I've been thinking about that a lot lately for myself, for my business. I talked about this some in the last episode while I was out in Martha's Vineyard, really rethinking or thinking about everything and how things are going. And I seem to always go through this as we head into fall. A lot of people do this sort of change in the new year or as the new year turns. For me, it's always going into fall, new season, new beginnings, thinking about where things are and where I'd like to see things go. So one of the things I wanted to share with you all was just 5 things. I picked 5 things that I've learned about decisions lately. One of them is giving yourself space and time to have the decision about whatever it is. Choose you. Now, I talked about space a lot on the last episode. Like I said, when I was in Martha's Vineyard, realize the importance of space for yourself, for your business, also for decision making. Sometimes we hold things really tightly and have to decide, and it has to either tell us what it wants us to do or we have to know exactly what we want to do. But obviously, if you're in a position where it's a matter of life and death and you have to make the decision right then, of course, you make the decision right then. But otherwise, and in most cases, you can give it space. You can give it time. You can walk away from it. You can say, let me think about it. Let me see what's going to happen before I make this hasty decision in the moment, especially if emotion is wrapped up in it. But give yourself some space and give the decision or whatever is the best choice at that time to make itself apparent to you. You'll be surprised at stepping away from things or maybe even doing something totally different. Sometimes I've had situations where I need to make a decision about something and I say, okay, I know that that's there and that's something I have to decide, but I'm going to do this other thing, which isn't the same as avoiding whatever decision you have to make. It is just a way of giving it space to say, I don't have to decide on this right now. I'm going to give this some space. I'm going to come back to it. Maybe after you even talk to some other people that you trust to get their opinion. And it's still, always remember, it's still your decision, even if you take input from other people, but give it some space that way. Give it some space by going for a walk. Give it some space by not addressing it at all in your mind or any other way, or give it some space by keeping it in mind, maybe through meditation. You want to think about it in a different way. There are a lot of ways to give a decision space and to give yourself space and permission to take a minute to think about it. That's one thing I learned about decisions. I don't have to know the right answer right then. Also, another thing that I thought about with decisions, we often make the choice harder than it is. So I can't think of an exact example, but have you ever had the opportunity or have you ever been in the position where you had to make a decision about something and you got yourself so worked up by the fear of it that the fear became bigger than the decision? Or whatever the possible outcome of the decision was. Moshe Loren, who was a guest and a friend, but who was a guest on the show a few weeks ago, talked about that, how fear can sometimes overcome whatever the task is that we do. I'm talking about making a decision, but she was saying doing anything. We get so wrapped up in the fear that becomes a bigger obstacle than whatever we were trying to tackle. I think the same is the case, I know it is for me occasionally, with decisions. The fear of making the wrong decision really is what it is overwhelming, more overwhelming than the decision itself, or making the wrong decision or fear of missing out by not making a decision. So you think, well, if I don't make a choice right now, then I'm going to miss fill in the blank. If I don't make a choice right now, then fill in the blank won't happen. If I don't make a choice right now, it just goes into this spiral of things that we're fearful of, which fear is what it really is, that we make the fear bigger than the decision. So let's try to be aware of that. Some decisions are scary, and it's okay to be scared of scary things, but let's not let the fear overwhelm us. Let's not let the fear be in control of us or our decisions. Also, decide what matters. It's really important to think about what is most important to you before you make your decision. Now, this may sound elementary, and maybe for some people it is, but I know for me, I have to remind myself sometimes, okay, what really matters in this moment to me? When I worked in, I guess it was about 2008, maybe 2007 at iVillage.com, which is now today, for the todayshow.com. I worked there, and there was a meeting. I remember there was an event rather, and the president at the time, Deborah, I can't remember her last name, but she was the president of iVillage at that time. And there was an event with a bunch of executive women, and several of us from the staff were there along with her, and she was a speaker at the event. So they asked her, how do you balance having such a high level position as president of this corporation and having a family, which is a question that we're still asking women 10 years later that we never ask men. But in any case, I always remember what her answer was to that question. And what she said was, you have to decide what matters and what doesn't matter. And if you decide that it matters, make it matter a lot. If you decide that it doesn't matter, then it shouldn't matter at all. And I just thought that was so powerful. I remember I may have even been like, when she said it, because it really made the most sense to me. And that in that case, whether you're talking about your children, if you decide that it matters, that you be there for that recital, it should matter a lot. If you decide that it doesn't matter, that you missed that morning meeting, then it shouldn't matter at all. Whatever it is, if you decide that it matters, it should matter a lot. If it doesn't matter, it shouldn't matter at all. And for me, what I took from that was, don't worry one way or the other once you make the choice. You've made the choice, the best decision, as we said, at that time, based on your knowledge, your understanding, your intention, what you want to create, what you want to do, what you want to experience in that moment. All of that goes into your decision. But once you decide that that's it, and that whatever it is that matters reflects that decision, whatever doesn't matter also reflects that decision. You've made a choice. Don't look back. Move forward with that decision. Another thing that I learned is a quote. It's from the new book, I think it just came out this summer, called Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. And one of the things that is mentioned is maintain fidelity to your purpose. I think that is so powerful. With making our decisions, especially, some of us, I'll speak for myself. Sometimes I make a decision that might be outside of my purpose because I lose track, because I'm thinking, I need to be doing this because everyone's doing this now, or, I need to be doing this for whatever other reason, or, I want to try that because that's something shiny and new, and we get caught up with these bobbing for shiny apples, as my friend calls it. Maintain fidelity to your purpose. Don't get distracted. And with that, I say, make sure your decisions reflect your purpose, especially if you're making life decisions, career decisions, business decisions. Does it help you maintain fidelity to your purpose? Is your ego getting in the way? Make sure you recognize that too. As women, we often don't mention having egos, but we all do. Ego means I. It's a part of who we are. But is your ego getting in the way? Is it getting in the way of what your purpose is, what you're supposed to be doing in this moment, what you feel you're supposed to be doing, not what anybody else feels you're supposed to be doing? Maintain fidelity to your purpose. Don't go for just what looks good. Remember what your why is. What's your purpose? What's driving you? It's one of those things where, the grass always looks greener, but what you have to remember is the good stuff is on your side. You remember your purpose. You got the good stuff. That's what you make your decisions based on. And the final thing that I will share that my friend Erica actually said to me the other day when I was talking about a decision, she said, for now is not forever. I love that. For now is not forever. And I think that's the thing with decisions. Some of us get caught up in, if I make this decision, it's going to be like X forever. No, for now is not forever. You can make a decision to do a certain thing now and change your mind, change your course. And decisions happen. We make them, which is so interesting. We make them every day, but sometimes we get so wrapped up again in the fear of missing out, the fear of making the wrong choice. We get misaligned with our purpose. We get caught up in all of these things, and we think that the decision that we make is going to be forever. Now, one of the things that Tony Robbins said that I heard recently in an interview that he did, it's your decisions, not your conditions, that shape your life. So I'm not going to act like nothing's riding on your decisions. Certainly they're important. But what I think is we are driven so much by trying to get it right instead of trying to do what also feels right. Or, as I said, what's in line with your purpose? Or what do you think is the next best move? And really, that's all most of us can do, is think about what is the next best move. I always give the analogy of, you can't start off driving in New York headed to California and worry about what the traffic is going to be like when you get to California. It'll be days, it'll be hours, it'll be so much time before you reach that point. What is the traffic like on your way as you go? You don't have to worry about that far ahead. You want to look ahead, have a vision, have a destination. Your destination is California. But if you're leaving New York today, you don't have to worry about traffic in California today. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does, because it's an analogy that I use for myself often. Like in other words, I'm getting too far ahead of myself. That's really what it is. Focus on the now. Be in the moment. We've all heard that said before. Be in the moment and make the best decision that you can. Another quote that I really love is from Zara Green, who was on episode 36, the one just before this one, if you want to listen to her. And a trademark term actually, that Zara has is called next decision better. And what she says, I'm paraphrasing here, but what she says is that we have to remember it's not about the last decision that we made. Sure, those decisions affect us. We endure the consequences of whatever those decisions were. But what is your next decision? How do you make your next decision better? How do you make the best choice that you can in the moment and moving forward? Don't think about the mistakes you made in the past. I know I've made a lot of them in my life, in my business, in relationships. We're human. So that's a part of the learning, part of the growing, part of evolving, is making mistakes and learning from them, making decisions, good and bad, and learning from them. And it's not even good and bad, making decisions, period, and learning from them. You're trying to do your best, so we're not going to say anything is bad. You're trying to do your best with this. But how do you make your next decision better, as Zara says? I really love that, and that's another one that I'm going to be rocking with for a while when I think about how to move forward. So whatever you decide, I know decisions are very much a part of our lives as entrepreneurs, as creatives, as human beings, but especially in this case where you're faced with things that feel like a lot is riding on it day in and day out. What I say is, what can I decide that'll have me be at the most peace? What can I do that is the best thing that I know how to do in the moment? Don't get caught up in, I tell myself this, don't get caught up in the fear of it being the wrong choice. Does it seem like the right choice in the moment? So I will share with you all, one of the things that I've really been mulling over a lot lately is whether or not I'm going to stay in New York for however long. I'm from New York originally. I'm a New Yorker, so I don't have the I need to make it in New York thing, which is great and lovely for people who are not from here. But I'm from here, so this was always home. But I've always been talking about, I think I mentioned this on the last episode in Martha's Vineyard, this idea of travel, this idea of not having to be in one place. I really want to travel and do different things and have a business that can go anywhere and that kind of thing. So I am in an apartment. I've also mentioned in Brooklyn, which I love, in Bed-Stuy, which I love. But this isn't it, or this isn't the end of it, I should say. So what I've been thinking lately is, you know what? Maybe now is a time, my lease is up at the end of the year, near the end of the year. Maybe now is a time to try something new. It's not the travel around the world piece. We'll get to that later. But right now, I think I'm going to leave New York for the remainder of the year. It's going into September now. Like I said, this is always my season of change. I have family in Atlanta. I have parents who, thank God, are healthy, but they're elderly and lovely. Everyone who meets them knows that they're lovely. But certainly it would be fantastic to be around them for a while and spend some time with them and be able to do all the things that I'm doing from here, from there. So I'm probably going to be in Atlanta for the remainder of the year. Now, I shared all that not because I want you guys to know all where I am, but because it was a tough decision, because I made it a tough decision. It wasn't about, oh, it'll be hard for me to give up my place. Well, my lease is coming up anyway. It wasn't about, oh, well, I have to leave my 9-to-5 job. That's not my position. That's not my life. I have a company that I can work from anywhere. It's what I'm building. It's what I'm doing. It's what I'm passionate about. It wasn't about, oh, well, my husband and kids and all of those things and the dog and that's not my situation. That's not something I have to worry about. The part that made the decision hardest, most difficult, was me making the decision and finally saying, you know what, I'm going to give this a try. And when that was a thing that my friend Erica, as I mentioned, said to me when we were talking about it, for now is not forever. So I don't have to worry about if this is the right decision forever. This feels like the right decision for now. I want to be around my family. I want to be outside of Brooklyn, outside of Bed-Stuy, outside of whatever this is. I love it here, like I said, but sometimes being in a different space at a different pace, new experiences, new inspiration, new opportunities, just some time away, really. And time goes so fast, so it won't be that long, but just some time away, time to refresh and to do all the things that you want to do from a new space, especially having the opportunity to be able to do that and the ability, I should say, to be able to do that. There's no reason that that decision outside of, oh, I'm going to be leaving New York should be hard. I also did have as I mentioned in my first point of things I learned, or my second point, what if I leave New York and I miss something? But what am I going to miss here? Nothing I'm going to miss here. I miss the people. I love a lot of people who are here, but they'll still be here. Even my closest friends, we talk about that. We never see each other unless we make an appointment. That trip that I talked about to Martha's Vineyard, we planned that a year in advance. So all of this to say, make a decision, the best decision you can at the time. Scary decisions. Scary as F decisions is really what you need to make, because that's where the magic is. Outside of your comfort zone, make a decision to do something that's really going to shake up your world in the best way, the healthiest way. You don't want to do anything that's unsafe. I'm, of course, not endorsing that, but you do want to do things that make your knees knock a little bit, make you a little nervous, make you unsure that you're going to be up to the challenge, that push you to try something different, to be around different people in different spaces and challenge you and make you feel uncomfortable, make you feel like you're not sure if you're going to do this quote unquote right, or you're not sure you're going to win at this, or you're not sure this is the perfect thing. This is the thing in the moment that you need to do. So that is what I learned about decisions. I hope this was helpful to you. I want to do these occasional solo episodes here and there. People seem to respond well to them and they're fun for me, and I get to share what's going on. Part of this Support is Sexy and everything that I'm doing and the videos and all of that has been me sharing my own entrepreneurial journey, as well as inviting all of these wonderful, fantastic women who you see I learn from, because I quote all of them constantly. I give them credit though, most of the time, but learning from them as well and sharing my own journey. So hopefully it will be helpful to you. So this is whether you have a business when we're talking about decisions, this is whether you just got out of school and you're trying to decide where you want to go to live, or you just got out of school and you're thinking about the job, or you're thinking about what business you want to create, or whatever that decisions, like I said, we make them every single day. So hopefully this will apply to you, whatever stage you're in, whether you're deciding to settle down or you're deciding, like me, to make a move. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let me know if you did. You can email me, Elayne, at elaynefluker.com. So that's ELAYNE at ELAYNE, F as in Frank, LUKER.com. Let me know what you think. Send me a message. Let me know any decisions that you're making right now. Also, let me know if there's anyone that you'd love for me to interview. I've been getting some really good suggestions lately from people who are listeners who want to hear from other women. I would love to hear that from you as well. Let me know what you think about the podcast. Give me feedback. I love it, and I'm looking for it. If you want to look at other episodes of the Support is Sexy podcast, go to supportissexypodcast.com. Got a cute URL now. So do that. Check us out. Let me know what you think of all those episodes. It's been really amazing to share with you all and get your feedback on how these episodes have helped you, spark something in you, or just give you a little something to listen to every day. Also, one more thing, be sure to sign up for our email list, because that's where I'm going to be telling you guys about private events. I'm I'm going to host brunches with some of the women that I interviewed, have them there to be able to speak to everyone and share their wisdom in person. This is all about connection, and I want to be able to do that. So email will be the way that I correspond with everyone and do these events that'll be subscriber only. So to sign up for the email list, you go to supportissexy.club. So supportissexy.club. It'll take you to the page. You enter your first name and an email address. That's all we need to be able to communicate with you. But I would love for you to do that as well. And it'll prompt you also to join our private mastermind. So I'm really just creating spaces for women entrepreneurs, brilliant minds to share resources, information, wisdom, and all of that good stuff so we can make really good decisions and get the input that we need to make those decisions. So now, thank you so much for listening, and you know what to do. Go out there and create something sexy, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.